Hello YouTubers and welcome aboard. I am Noob Flyboy X and welcome back to F1 2018 Career Mode. It is the finale of Season 1 here in Abu Dhabi, round 21. And just like in Brazil, we're going to hop on board right away for a lap of the circuit. Out of the last corner and onto the front straightaway here during one of our practice programs, of course. Very hard braking for the first corner. It's a pretty long left-hander into another left-hander next with a fairly light braking for that one. Long sweeping right-hander up and over the crest of the hill here and down into a fairly hard braking zone into this little chicane right before the front straightaway. This is a section you very much want to get right because it sets you up for this very long first straightaway here. For power cars like the Williams, this is the main passing opportunity of the track, so you definitely want to get it right. There's the first DRS zone, open that up. High top speed coming through here. Using low ERS deployment at the moment because it's one of my programs, but you'll want to give it everything on that straightaway for the most part. Into the chicane that sort of divides the what would be one straightaway into two. On now to the second one with a little bit of a bend beginning it and the second DRS zone there. Very long straightaway here. This one, a little bit of a passing opportunity, but not as much. Another hard braking zone here into the left-hander, going into another chicane here, back to the right and then back to the left again. Coming now into the last sector of the Grand Prix here. This is a very technical section, whereas the first two sectors are very much just straight line speed. I believe Kimi Räikkönen described this last sector as kind of being shit compared to the rest of the track at one point. That didn't stop him from pulling off a pretty darn good win here in 2012, as F1 will never fail to remind us. Actually, I remember watching that race on TV when I was young and actually laughing along with everyone when Kimi said that. Finishing up the lap here with a hard right-hander onto the front straightaway, and there we are across the line for a lap of the final circuit on the calendar here. Let's head straight into qualifying. Q1 was absolutely a cinch, got through that in P10. Here now in Q2, we're looking to do well and continue on into Q3. You'll notice I have the purple striped tires on. Those are the medium compound, or the middle compound I should say rather, of the tires that we have. Trying to make a better strategy work, but unfortunately it's a slower tire for qualifying, and that's ended us in 14th place. So with that, we are very much looking at the strategy to carry us forward in the race.
Welcome to Yas Marina Circuit for the swan song of another thrilling Formula One season. It's been a breathtaking year, and we end it at a circuit that has been the scene of many glories and heartbreaks over its short history. It's time to end the season in style. It's time for the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. With that then, let's run through the grid order. An immense lap from Lewis Hamilton yesterday puts him on pole position, edging out Räikkönen, who'll start P2. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Sainz, Leclerc, Fernando Alonso and Magnussen, Vettel, Ocon, Iceman and Max Verstappen, Grosjean, Bottas. They'll be starting further back after an earlier grid penalty. Marcus Ericsson and Gasly, Stroll, Hartley, Daniel Ricciardo and Stoffel van Dorn. Perez and Nico Hulkenberg completes the grid. And with lights out just moments away, it's time to go down to the track.
This is the final race of the season. Go out there and enjoy it.
Thanks Jeff, and a big thank you to the team before we get going. Just going to go with the simple one-stop strategy today. That's the whole point of going on the harder tire for qualifying. Here we go to the grid. We're going to have to hope that strategy works today because it's a difficult track to pass on. And now the lights go out in Abu Dhabi. It's a slow start for us. We actually are delayed getting off our marks. We are very, very slow. We've already had some contact. Bottas has steamed past us, so is Verstappen. Grosjean makes a dive bomb into the first corner. Bottas is slow, so he's out wide there a little bit. That's allowed us to make up a place. So one of the two championship contenders heading into this final race is already behind us, behind Marcus Ericsson. There's been an incident behind us as well, I think involving one of the Red Bulls and one of the Toro Rossos. It's been a bad season for the junior team in particular, but not a great season for Red Bull either. They've had a lot of crashes, a lot of DNFs, so they haven't really gotten as many points as I'm sure they would have hoped. Meanwhile, we're on the tail of Roman Grosjean coming down the front straightaway immediately. There we go. Flick the engine into rich revs. Power past him. Kind of ironic using rich energy to get past a Haas, but that's alright. We very nearly have a look at Verstappen as well. but we get past Grosjean quite easily there. He fights us back in the chicane though. He's trying to come up the inside of us there onto the second straightaway, where his Ferrari engine is still powerful. Not quite powerful enough though. We've held him off for the time being. He is going to have a look coming up the outside into this next hard braking zone. But he has the outside there, and in that tight chicane area, that's not a good place to pass. So even though I leave him room, he backs out of it. Very exciting opening lap here, and we finally have some first lap action to show for us. But Verstappen is now getting away, so it might have to be a little while before we get our next action. Despite Verstappen's very good pace, he's struggling to get past the McLaren of Fernando Alonso up in front of him, who is holding on to 8th. So I'm hoping they're going to slow each other down eventually, but I'm going to have a lot of work to do myself to try to get up to them. On lap 4, we can see what the main problem is. I'm in range for the DRS now that it's been activated, but I can't get a good enough run through that technical first section to get a good run down the straightaway. I'm not in range of the slipstream. Verstappen, though, is trying to move on Alonso ahead of us. Around the outside, their slower speed into this section has allowed me to catch up. I might just be able to make it work here as we accelerate down the second part of the straightaway. DRS open, Verstappen still with the advantage here, but Alonso squeezes up the inside, pushes Verstappen out wide, and he's got the place back. So this is the kind of fighting I need them to keep doing, but even so, I can't quite make an advantage out of it. It takes up until lap 8, a very slow progress for us, and now Valtteri Bottas is now behind us, looking to make an attack on us like a shark that Mercedes kind of looks like in the rear view mirror sometimes. But Verstappen, though, is still relatively close to us. We're trying to stay with him, but we need Fernando Alonso to slow him down, or maybe we just need Kevin Magnussen up there to slow Alonso down, which in turn will slow Verstappen down. Hopefully, it looks like this time we're close enough to maybe get the job done. Verstappen's got DRS, but so do I, and I'm close enough this time I might just be able to send it on the brakes. There we go, up the inside. Holy cow, that was close to Alonso as well. We kind of have a bit of contact with Verstappen, but hey, it's Verstappen. I mean, I said I'd, given up my grudge with him, but, only partially. I'm still willing to, have contact with him when I need to get past. He's still right there, looking very aggressive, though, as we head on to lap 9. Fernando Alonso still just in front of us. We can't quite catch him. And again, we'll see the problem here. Whoa, Kimi Räikkönen actually, though, has come up out of nowhere on lap 11. He's made his pit stop and is already back past us. So he is now looking to take the lead of the race once Magnussen, I think, and Alonso ahead of him make their pit stops. Hamilton, just behind us, is also looking to get on with his race. He's not one of the championship contenders, of course, but he's hoping to stay ahead of Sebastian Vettel and block off that Ferrari. Closing in, though, on Kimi Räikkönen with DRS, we almost have a look at getting that place back, but not quite, not this time. We'll have to see if we can get him later, or if we're just going to let him walk away. It'll kind of depend what happens here. I'm starting to think, though, that the Ferrari team haven't upgraded their engine much, because that Ferrari is kind of slow in a straight line. Seems to be even worse somehow than the Renault-powered McLaren. Strangely enough, Räikkönen is able to hold on to it, but now it's time for us to drop out of the fight anyway, as on lap 12, it is time for our one and only pit stop of this race. There we go, into the pit lane, Fernando Alonso just ahead of us. And very quickly we are out again, coming down the very strange pit exit here in Abu Dhabi, underneath the racetrack, and then back out on the inside of the track rather than the outside, where the pit lane itself is. So let's see if we can catch some of this train that's up here. I know some of them aren't as good in a straight line, some of the cars here, such as the McLaren of Van Dorn, who's holding up the tail end here, right behind my teammate who's found himself behind Alonso. Maybe Stroll might actually be able to make a move here. He's close enough to have DRS. I'm making a move on Van Dorn, so if Stroll now had a perfect opportunity, or this is about as perfect an opportunity as he could get, but it looks like Alonso's acceleration is just too much. So Stroll is going to have to continue waiting to get that first point of his. He's not going to get one this season, I don't think, at this rate. On to the second straightaway, it's time for us to overtake him. So I am sorry about this, teammate, but you haven't been a whole lot of help to me this season. We need to upgrade the car and make sure you can actually do something with it. We dive down the inside. No real contact there. There's at least a healthy respect between us as teammates, so we're able to continue on. At the moment, we're out of the points, but I am counting on some other cars further up the road making pit stops in a little bit. The problem, though, is that Fernando Alonso is surprisingly difficult to catch in his McLaren. He's actually making very good use of it here, as one of the Force Indias is just in front of him. He can't quite make a move on the Force India. It's actually giving him a bit of a tow down the straightaway, and increasing the top speed of that McLaren, such that I can't very easily pass him. And that's not helped by the fact that through this technical first section, I'm really not able to keep up with him as much as I would like to. Here we go into the technical sector here, just the little chicane before the front straightaway, and I can't quite get close enough. Braking there is just hard enough that I can't quite get close enough to the back of Alonso to get slipstream off of him. DRS and rich revs in the engine are helping, but slipstream really does seem to be the most powerful thing in this game to help overtaking on the front straightaways, on the long straightaways rather. Coming down into the chicane here, we are kind of up the back of him this time. I'm not sure though it's close enough, as again he leaps away under acceleration, so we're going to have to wait another lap, I think. And we're already starting to run out of laps here. We're on lap 16 of 28, the race is more than half over. So we're going to have to find a way to get past him soon. Maybe what we need is that Sauber just in front of Charles Leclerc to help slow him up. It actually turns out to be something entirely different that's going to give us an opportunity here. On the end of lap 16, though, we're closing up to the back of him a little bit, but just in front of us, Charles Leclerc dives into the pits. Esteban Ocon in the second Force India has held up his teammate. Looks like he's chipped off a bit of Perez's front wing as Ocon moves to the side out of the race with an engine failure. It's slowed up Perez and Alonso here. I'm hoping I'll be able to get back onto their tails because of that. I'm close through this first sector, closer than I have been, as I note that there's a bit of realism involved in that, because Ocon in the real race in 2018 suffered an engine failure pretty similar to that one, and was out in just about the same spot. That's not concerning us at the moment, though. We're right up the back of Alonso. This time we should be close to get slipstream. Our acceleration is pretty similar off the line there, and yes, we are close enough to be in his slipstream. We have DRS for good measure. Mercedes engine, do your thing. There we go, and we might get Perez too, as Alonso makes it 3 wide into the chicane there. We block him off going a bit deep there, preventing any counterattack. That's allowed Perez back past him. There's a bit of a kerfuffle behind us, it looks like. I think there were yellow flags for a moment there, but we've gotten through. Alonso is a little bit behind Perez now, and I think squabbling with one of the two Haas's that's come up behind. I think that's Magnussen. Perez has a little bit of a look at a counterattack back at us, but we have him for now. Alonso, by lap 18, has fallen away, and we are in P3, and everyone in front of us has made all their pit stops. Significant number of people behind us have made their pit stops as well. Brendan Hartley's out of the race. Yellow flags in Sector 3 for that. But because of this, I'm thinking we might just scrape a podium out of this season. That is until lap 19, when the Scarlet Ferrari of Sebastian Vettel appears behind me. He may not have the best straight line speed with that Ferrari like his teammate did, but it's enough, and he's on a mission now to win the championship. He is up into 3rd place, and I think with Valtteri Bottas in his current position, that's enough for Vettel to win the championship if he stays there, and so does Bottas. So, Vettel has stolen away our one shot at a podium this season, kind of the same way he did in Canada, where he was just a bit too far up the road for us to catch for a podium. But even so, he may have just secured his championship. We'll have to see what Bottas is capable of as we head towards the last laps here. We have less than 10 laps to go. Can Bottas close in, is the question here. It's not the question that's concerning me at the moment. On lap 21, my immediate threat now is my old rival Kevin Magnussen. He's actually closing in the Haas. The Haas actually appears to have a better engine in it than the factory Ferrari team for some reason. Maybe Haas has invested more points in it or something. But whatever the case is, Magnussen is slowly reeling me in, and I know he's going to be on my tail within the next few laps here. So I need to be quick and try to hold him off here. By lap 22, though, he's closed in enough to make an attempt of it. Here he comes, staying in my slipstream here. He's going to try into the hard braking zone of the second back straightaway there. There he is along my outside, but like I did with my teammate there, the inside of that switchback part of the chicane is not the best place to be, so I hold him off. Coming to the closing stages of the race, and Magnussen's actually lost out to not one but two cars. Valtteri Bottas has passed him, and so is Carlos Sainz, and Sainz is now looking aggressive behind me as well. He's found my slipstream, and is closing in as we head toward the kink in the back straightaway here. Hard on the brakes, we go a little deep for good measure. Some of the rubber that's been laid down here, we can see the darker parts of the track is making it slippery, but now Bottas is the one behind me. In the position he's in, I think he's already won the championship, but he's taking no risks at all. Bottas is looking aggressive and looking to pass me as well. He goes up the outside there, where in a spot where there's really not much room to try to pass, but he makes it work. And with that position, he has secured himself the championship. My engineer is telling me, hold on, I can try to pass him again. I don't really think so, Jeff. Bottas is on a mission here to win the championship, and even though DRS gives us another look up the inside, that is the last look. No more overtaking this season for us. We are going to come home 5th, finally breaking our 6th place streak, as we finish the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix, as we finish the season.
That's it, what a season. Great work this year, really great work. It's been hard at times, but we've come through.
There were questions at the start of the season as to whether this package could really go all the way. But there's no question anymore. What a special year it's been. And here they are now, the new Formula One World Drivers' Champion.
So with that, Valtteri Bottas secures the World Championship, beating out his teammate and beating out Sebastian Vettel at Ferrari. What a year it's been for Mercedes, securing the Constructors' Championship very early and having their driver as the Drivers' World Champion as well. Kimi Räikkönen, Lewis Hamilton and Sebastian Vettel on the podium, but Bottas's 4th is enough. He won the first race and it has carried him through. For us though, it's still been a good season. Our rookie season in Formula One though is over, and it's time to start looking toward the future. Let's see what our agent Emma has to say about our first season.
Nice job this season. You've been performing well, and that's putting us in a strong negotiating position contract-wise. Plus, my 10%'s getting more valuable. So enjoy your break, and keep up the good work next year.
Well, the kind words are appreciated, Emma. They really are. But there's no break for me. It's going straight on to winter testing. Thank you very much for watching, as always, YouTubers. Season 2 is on the way soon. Have a nice day.